Mike, I'll start with you. So I was trying to sort of parse out a theme from all of this, and the closest thing I could get is the humans are letting us down in terms of being good when it comes to building health and safety tools and software, flagging content for review on Facebook, sharing misleading content, and actually supporting good news organizations. And Facebook's going to have to do some things to pick up the slack. What did he say the main message was here?
You know, I think the letter was probably the Harvard dissertation that he never got to write, and maybe stayed up and forgot to get a big editing job on it. But the upshot for me, at least when we were talking, was, you know, this is as close as a political statement that you're probably going to get from Zuckerberg, especially in this this sort of climate right now, where, you know, he's talking about isolationism in countries is more the rule now than the exception, where you have, you know, the travel ban in the United States, you have Brexit happening, you know, over the past 2 years. So it's this idea that connecting the world, which has always been Facebook's mission statement, is now a political concept. And they don't want to go out and say, you know, we're stepping into the political ring, but they basically are.
Is that how you saw it, Kara? How is this going to change Facebook as a product and as a business? The talk of getting more deeply into positive community.
You know, I don't think it's that much of a political statement, actually. I think what it is this company's been around for 13 years. There's been enormous changes in the past year. They've been under fire about fake news, and it's sort of a moment for Facebook. And I think Mark has decided to sort of clarify some things and start to move in the direction that he thinks is the next Facebook, essentially. And so, you know, I think one of the best headlines I saw is Zuckerberg's solution for Facebook is more Facebook. So I thought that was kind of funny. I think he's just stating some things he's been thinking about in the backdrop of a really ugly social media environment led by Facebook. You know, the problems, you know, have been around Twitter and Facebook, and I think it was time to sort of stake his claim, I guess, in a very long piece.
Hey, Mike, he goes into the degree to which AI is a potential solution to fixing fake news, but a lot needs to be done, he says, before we can get there. So what inning do we think we are in that game?
So yeah, we actually talked a little bit about this too, and it seems super early just on, the problem with AI right now is it just can't detect nuance like a human can. So if I'm going to sarcastically say something online to a friend that may resonate with a robot as abuse, it's not something that, you know, they can really tease out right now. So that is probably like 5-10 year sort of horizon, but there are some pretty clear things. He mentioned gore was something that they could probably take down, or, you know, in certain countries, nudity, if it's okay with people. You know, he also talked a lot about sort of a mode of self-governance around what community terms of service should be around the world, and that's a really significant change for how Facebook sees essentially rules on how to be on Facebook.
I also thought it wasn't really cut and dry, Kara, on this point. He defended Facebook as an incubator of ideas and much more broad than the traditional forms of media that we get in TV news, for instance, and needs to include satire. Are they doing enough on fake news?
Well, you know, what's he going to say? It's a hellscape over here? I mean, that's Twitter. I'm sorry, I forget.
He could have laid out more stringent policies
I think what he's inching towards is taking responsibility. You know what I mean? At first, he was like, "It's just a platform. Hey, we don't know what goes on here." And now he's more like, "Hey, maybe we do have a role," and they do have a role. It's something I've been saying a lot. I know here that they have a responsibility. They are a media company of the modern age, and so they have to start behaving a little bit more like that. The AI stuff is interesting, though, because it was a stronger, you know, I think they were going to go stronger into the AI area, but it's also a little scary, the idea of them fighting terrorists. That was an unusual. I mean, I talked to him about this quite a bit. I was like, "Are you a government agency? Do we want you in our homes? Do we feel like you should be monitoring us so much?" And I think it was born out of a good thing. He was worried about the suicide that took place, and he was upset by it. And so I think one of the issues is, okay, that's great to be caring and wanting to stop that, but at the same time, where does it stop? And I think that's a big issue.
It seemed to me like maybe laissez-faire, Facebook is dead, this attitude that we're just going to let people be people, connect yourselves, and it'll all work out. Like maybe he's gotten disillusioned on that idea, but he doesn't want to be Big Brother Facebook, and this was sort of groping through trying not to be too hands-off, but trying not to have a hand around your throat.
He's a young adult now. How about that? Like, he's maybe a little older. Maybe he has children. Maybe he thinks a little harder. You know what I mean? He does have children and stuff.
Well, let's move on and talk some Snapchat, which is not claiming to be a media company. Snapchat founder and CEO Evan Spiegel calling Snap a camera company on its IPO roadshow. Take a listen.
Snap is a camera company. We feel like we're really at the beginning of what cameras can do. Cameras have evolved from being just a piece of hardware, like a chip, to software that's connected to the internet. Before, cameras were the best way to perfectly save or record something that you saw, and they sort of helped augment memory. But now, cameras augment the way that we talk.
Mike, GoPro is a camera company that kind of claimed to be a media company. Is Snap a media company claiming to be a camera company?
I think Snapchat's kind of in a weird position. Like, their closest comparable company when they were a private company was Twitter, right? And they have, you can say like they have a similar sort of use case, or even, in the ballpark, in the hundreds of millions of users. But Snapchat's big problem is they don't want to be stacked up, at least in terms of user numbers, to Facebook. And that's why they keep pushing this sort of engagement story, the whole we're a camera company story, and not we're the next giant social network. So I think they have a problem just in terms of like positioning. Are we the next Facebook? Are we the next Twitter? Are we the next GoPro? Which I think only one of those sound desirable, but it's pretty clear that they're not going to be the next Facebook.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
No chance?
No, well, you don't know. It's a super innovative company. And boy, a lot of great ideas are coming out of that guy from Evan Spiegel. I think some of the most interesting ideas in social media. I have young teens, kids, and they love Snapchat. And they don't use Facebook. They use Instagram and Snapchat. But not using the anecdotal thing, I think they're a communications company to them. They talk with their friends. They trade ideas. They make jokes. So I see it more, using a camera, I guess. So it's a communications company using a camera, which is a little too hard to say.
Right. But this is a really important point, and it's going to be once they start trading. Will the street accept that they're not a company that depends on massive user growth? Because that's what they will probably argue.
They're going to have to, because where do they get it? How do they keep people there? You wonder after people are a certain age if they keep using it. That's the thing. Although people get into habits. Facebook has become a habit and a utility. So that's the question, if people will stick with it and if they can keep innovating. But they certainly, they remind me more of WeChat, which has all kinds of things hanging off of it than anything else. And that's what I would compare it to. The camera company thing is odd to me. But whatever, he can say whatever he wants.
What are you hearing about demand? What is your latest reporting indicating on the appetite from investors and how that's going down inside Snap?
So I think it's interesting. I actually think the IPO is going to go well. I think they're playing the story to the street pretty well as far as, the metrics of like engagement and time spent. But I think it's really going to be tricky for them because Facebook has trained everyone on the street to look for user growth for the past 5 years, right? And so Twitter has really suffered as a result of that. Snapchat got to see that whole scenario, that whole nightmare scenario play out. So they're like, all right, how are we going to avoid this? And it seems like they're doing pretty well, and that's why I think the IPO is going to go probably pretty smoothly. I just think like first, second, third quarter is a little bit more tenuous.
Kara, it seems like Facebook trained the street, as Mike was just saying, to think in terms of scale, but they still bought Oculus, they still bought Instagram, which kind of play to this premium segment that Snap is really attacking.
Absolutely.
They're not talking about the rest of the world, they're focused on developed markets. Is that what this camera thing is really all about?
I'm not clear what it's about, honestly. I think they just say these things, there's bankers in a room and they just say, this sounds good, you know what I mean? And then Mike and I go, what the hell is that, kind of thing.
I don't know why though, when you think camera company, you go to John. You think GoPro, which
is CNBC a camera company? Are you a camera person? I don't know. I think it'll probably, I think that's the issue is, if it makes a lot of money, who cares how many people they have using it? I think that's really, if they can turn that into advertising dollars or whatever products they happen to have, I think that's going to be the focus. And Facebook makes a lot of money. That's, I think, more important than user growth. It's the money they make with that user base. And the numbers don't matter as much as the money they're going to make.
Really quick, before Kara sat down, I took a picture of your aviators, and I tweeted, guess who's here? The guesses were you, Hunter Thompson, Joe Biden, Lenny Kravitz, Don Johnson,
Yeah.
Goose from Top Gun,
Well,
and Magnum PI.
It's Goose, and you know Mike's nickname is Charmin Bear. I don't know if you know
I did
that,
not know that.
but I'm just going to tell that to the people.
Yeah. And I used to
Well,
call
it's that-
Kara
Sorry, Mike.
Goose all the time.
Goose, yeah, you did. Yeah.
It's that Twitter
Yeah.
avatar. Mike, Kara, thanks for joining us. Have a great long weekend.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.